Good evening, everybody. This is a Kearney Board of Aldermen meeting. It's 6:30 p.m. I'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Cindy, have you had a chance to take roll this evening?
I have taken roll. With Alderman King being online, everyone is present. You have the quorum.
Great, thank you. Everybody's here in person. We have Alderman King joining us remotely from home. We'll move on to the public hearings this evening. We do have a public hearing noticed up this evening, a public hearing to receive public comments per the requirements of section 67-1431 of the revised statutes of the state of Missouri as amended regarding the establishment of the Gateway West Community Improvement District. If you wish to speak for or against the proposed establishment of the Gateway West Community Improvement District, CID district, we'll have you move forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and then you can give your comment if you are for or against this proposed CID. The floor is open for public comment and input. Seeing nobody move here. David, do we have anybody online?
Yeah, we do. Let me double check, make sure we don't have any hands raised. Does not look like it.
All right, I will close the floor for public comment and input. Do we have any residents that reside inside the city limits that would wish to address the board, your elected body, with any open public comments this evening? That opportunity is ended as well. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Any items of discussions or questions on the consent agenda this evening from the board? Seeing none, if we can entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Consent agenda is approved as presented. We'll move on to ordinances this evening. We have one ordinance to consider. Motion approving bill number 1, 2025, presented by Carolyn Yatsik, our Economic Development Director, who is joining us remotely as well this evening. An ordinance approving the petition for and establishing the Gateway West Community Improvement District and approving a cooperative agreement among the City of Kearney, Missouri and the Gateway West Community Improvement District. Carolyn, I'll give you the floor.
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Aldermen. Can you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you just fine.
Okay, perfect. First of all, I want to thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to present this item virtually tonight due to the extreme weather, so I certainly appreciate that. As the mayor mentioned, before you this evening is an ordinance to create the Gateway West CID, Community Improvement District, also known as, abbreviated as CID, and a cooperative agreement between the Gateway West CID and the City of Kearney. Public hearing notices were sent to property owners and published in the newspaper per state statute. On December 6th, property owners within the proposed CID boundary filed a petition with the city clerk to establish the district. To form a CID, state statute requires petitions to meet certain criteria. They must be signed by property owners who collectively own more than 50% of the total assessed property value in the boundary, and they must also represent more than 50% of all property owners in the district. The Gateway West CID petition meets both of these requirements. The proposed CID boundary covers approximately 569 acres of undeveloped land at the northwest quadrant of the I-35 and 19th Street interchange. And you can find a map of the boundary, the proposed boundary, on page 32 of your packet. There are 5 parcels within the boundary, and they are all shaded in blue. The district is being created to fund public improvements that will spur future development. The anticipated improvements and preliminary estimates are listed in Exhibit C on page 45, and they are listed in order of importance. First is the Nation Road water line, then the Nation Road Complete Streets project, and also the Sandbar Drive Complete Streets project. It also includes formation costs and legal costs of in that, with a total estimated cost of improvements being $22.83 million. The CID will act as its own political subdivision and be governed by a board of directors. The district under the CID Act is authorized to impose a special assessment and a sales tax. The Gateway West CID will impose a special assessment of $500 per acre annually for all properties within the district and a sales tax on retail sales made within the district. The cooperative agreement begins on page 54, and that outlines the various responsibilities of the district and of the city. District projects will be designed and constructed by the city of Kearney. The district itself will have no ownership, and the district projects will be owned by the city. The creation of the Gateway West CID and cooperative agreement are key steps towards spurring residential, retail, and commercial development at the northwest quadrant of our new interchange and along Nation Road. That's my overview of the ordinance, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board on the proposed ordinance or report from staff? I would like to mention, thank you for that report, Carolyn. Really good report. This is something that I'm extremely excited about, not only for the city of Kearney, but for our two taxing partners as well, the fire district and the school district. Anytime we can look at opportunities to increase development in our side or city limits, but also we are well aware as a board that improving our tax base for our other taxing partners it's necessary and something that we're looking to do. Just a couple months ago at our priority planning session for our next fiscal year, which as we know starts April 1st, our fiscal year is not a traditional calendar year. This same board, we identified a priority to look at ways to improve the infrastructure, specifically the water line in this area, so we could help land more commercial development. I think this is a great opportunity for everybody to be a player to get this done. So I appreciate staff working hard and putting together a plan. I know I've spent a lot of time with Sheila, Carolyn, and staff and our taxing partners here, and this is truly exciting. Any questions from the board on the proposed ordinance? Seeing none, if we could read the proposed ordinance on the first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance approving the petition for and establishing the Gateway West Community Improvement District and approving a cooperative agreement among the city of Kearney, Missouri and the Gateway West Community Improvement District.
Make a motion to approve on first reading.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You heard him. Oppose? All right, if we could read the second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance approving the petition for and establishing the Gateway West Community Improvement District and approving a cooperative agreement among the city of Kearney, Missouri and the Gateway West Community Improvement District.
Move to approve on second reading.
I'll second.
Pull the board, please.
Alderman Holt.
Aye.
Alderwoman Barger.
Aye.
Alderman Lehman.
Aye.
Alderman King.
Aye.
Vote is unanimous and ordinance passes on the second reading. Thank you, Carolyn. We'll move on to resolutions. We have no resolutions to discuss this evening. Next item on the agenda is a Safer, Stronger Kearney presentation. I'm pleased that our police chief, Mr. Mark Thomas, is here, and you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Woman Barger, Alderman Lehman, Alderman Holt, and Alderman King. I'm going to apologize in advance. I've had a little bronchitis over the weekend. If I start coughing uncontrollably with a bone-jarring cough, it's just my cough. I'll be okay, I promise. Tonight I want to talk to you about something that's near and dear to our heart. When we presented our second quarter metrics, it was clear that our officers are doing a lot and working hard to keep Kearney safe. For several years, Kearney was named as among the top 10 safest cities in Missouri. This is a title we were proudly held until about 4 years ago. Kearney was last ranked among the top 10 safest cities in the state in 2021. According to the report by SafeWise, Kearney was listed as the 10th safest city in Missouri that year. In 2022, Kearney was ranked 12th in the state. And so now we're out of the top 10. As of 2024, we're not listed in the top 10 safest cities in the state of Missouri. We're lower than that. These rankings are based on FBI crime report statistics and population data analyzed by SafeWise. To be honest, all I did was do a Google search. Kearney, safest cities in Missouri, and I found out where we were. It's important to note that while Kearney may not currently be in the top 10, we still continue to be recognized for our commitment to safety and community well-being. For the most current information on Kearney's safety rankings, we can always refer to SafeWise annual reports or local news reports. One of the things that I'm extremely proud of after being the chief here is in a short amount of time that I've been here, we are considered to be an employer of choice. We have people coming from other agencies wanting to transfer in to be a Kearney police officer. Recently, we had 2 openings, and I had 4 applications for those 2 openings. That's incredible, by the way. Any other police chief that I talked to about that, their first answer is, "Are you kidding me?" And so we were able to fill those 2 positions. And in fact, our 2 newest officers started today. One's a recruit that we talked about at the last meeting, and the other one's a transfer in from Chillicothe Police Department. That is an employer of choice. That people want to come work here because of our police department, and I'm proud of that. The city would like to take steps to restore our place on this list by making a safer, stronger Kearney. We can work towards this by investing in our future. Plus that, there's a little bit of competitive nature in myself that I have. Smithville, Chief Lockridge, Smithville's at number 10, by the way, in the state. Chief Lockridge is a really good friend of mine. I mean, no disrespect to him or his department or his city, but we're gonna do better and get back into that top 10, and I want you to have my word on that. Next slide, Dave. The Mayor and Board of Aldermen's priorities for the city are quality of life and basic services. The quality of life, investing in initiatives that improve quality of life, particularly public safety, community events, walkability, and parks and recreation, is essential for promoting community wellness, fostering social connections, and enhancing overall resident satisfaction. In basic services, we're committed to providing high-quality services that meet the needs of all citizens and foster a vibrant community. We want to maintain the commitment for public safety so Kearney can remain one of the safest cities in the state. We want to work to fully fund the resources law enforcement needs, including additional SROs and updated equipment. We can accomplish this with a half-cent sales tax dedicated to public safety. So, next one. One more. Here's our vision. Go ahead. You're gonna have to click through that. Sorry, I'm making your job harder.
You want me to go ahead and film?
Yeah, that's fine. Our vision for improving the quality of life in Kearney was addressed by your priorities for the city in the upcoming fiscal year. That list of important issues included basic services and support for public safety so we can better serve our citizens. This rank placement in the top 10 safest cities is important. We all want to live in a safe community that's an awesome place to raise a family. I've raised my family here. My daughter is raising her family here. This is important to us, to everybody. The police department is committed to raising that ranking with the board's support. As the chief of police, I have a solid plan to accomplish this task, but it exceeds the budgetary constraints that we're currently working under. Okay. So balanced budget issues. As each of you know, by law, our budget is required to be a balanced budget. Each year we submit our requests along with justifications and costs, and there's not enough resources to fund all of our needs. Years of limited resources have brought us to a critical point where we can no longer kick that can down the road. In light of events that have occurred in our community and our country, we find ourselves in a situation that requires us to move forward to improve how we go about keeping our city safe. And the recent tragic events that happened in New Orleans is just one small example of that. We know that these things happen on a consistent basis across our country. We also know that it happens in places other than big cities. It happens in small towns and different communities as well. This direction is impacted by the city not having a dedicated revenue for public safety. We're absolutely doing the best that we can, but improving public safety is costly. It costs a lot of money. We've been successful applying and gaining approval for as many grants as we can, but they are limited and they do not cover our shortfalls. Okay. Here's our plan. We want to increase our officer safety standards by upgrading our firearms training, focusing on tactical perspectives such as squad training. And we also want to add additional school resource officers. So by intentionally cultivating healthy relationships with students and school personnel, we have already seen the benefits of having an SRO at our schools. They can increase positive impact within the community, and this can also include reducing school-based violence and bullying, creating a safer school environment. We also respond to an alarming number of threats to our schools. These are received directly and online. Each of these threats are treated with the same degree of critical response as the next, and they are all taken very seriously. At the beginning of school, we had an incident that happened in Plattsburgh. Our officers and our SRO were able to respond up there to help them. We thought it to be a credible threat. It came out online as an active shooter at the high school. When that happens, law enforcement converges on the area. And then we were able to also keep enough officers back here at our school district, in our district, to be able to cover the schools here as well. So we kind of divided and conquered, got up there, got everything secured, and they realized that it was not a credible threat. And thankfully, we were able to clear the school and return back to the city. But we were able to do that and maintain the coverage for our own schools. Our officers are also involved in ever-increasing cases of mental health in our schools. And when I heard about this, and I started hearing these reports, it concerned me a lot. We're the first responders on these calls. The reports of threats and attempted suicides have reached a level that's not isolated to the high school. Some of our children as young as junior high and even middle school have been affected by suicidal thoughts, as well as actions such as running away from home or from school. We want to utilize a community policing with a dedicated community outreach officer. And by that I mean the responsibilities of community engagement officer would include working closely with local businesses, banks, HOAs, schools, and churches. Did I do that?
We have someone come in.
Okay, sorry. The community engagement officer will be responsible for educating these groups on criminal activity specifically related to their organizations. I envision having this officer be out in the community on a routine basis, setting up training for bank tellers to find out how to be safe if a credible threat comes across, or an incidence of perceived fraud that was to happen, how best to address that issue. Sitting down with the folks out at Price Chopper to be able to say, what are you going to do in the case of a situation where somebody's stealing a bunch of food or something like that, or items, how to respond in a safe manner is what I'm talking about. This position will also serve as a program coordinator for events such as Shop with a Cop, Downtown Trunk or Treat, Coffee with a Cop, and National Night Out. The community engagement officer would be an integral part of the police department's efforts to educate the public by coordinating our social media efforts as well as important press releases. That officer would be the one that handling the lion's share of the press releases in a critical incident that we're involved in, such as the shooting and standoff that we had back a number of months back. He would be able to do the press releases and to maintain all of that information that we release to the public. The officer will foster relationships with members of the media and community leaders to help establish and improve our standing in the community. To sum it up, community members are not the only recipients of public police services. They're the essential partners we work with to maintain our public safety. When public agencies work together and create programs, policies, and strategies through community police engagement, it builds understanding, trust, confidence, respect, and diversity between our agency and our community. Next slide. Training opportunities save lives. So training in law enforcement can appear in two different formats. One format is electronic. And basically, our officers sit in front of their computer by themselves and observe a set of format for the training curriculum. And then they'll take a test at the end of the allotted time and they receive credit for the training. It worked great in COVID because we didn't have to go anywhere. But it's not COVID anymore. If any of you have ever done this sort of training at work and everything, it is monotonous. And if you're just sitting there listening to what you need to read and test on, it's okay, and you're dotting the i's and you're crossing the t's and everything, but it's definitely not as good as live training. So the second type of training is available to law enforcement is live training. Now, we've done a great job so far as far as our training needs, and we've had guys that have gone on to be instructors already, but we have a lot further to go. We have a lot better future when it comes to that. Computerized training works well for topics that are not available in a live training format, such as bias-based enforcement, de-escalation techniques, and law updates. An argument could be made that even this type of training is better received and retained as opposed to face-to-face learning. Live training allows for a hands-on approach that is an invaluable tool, especially when addressing life-saving officer safety issues such as tactical responses, firearms proficiency, leadership, first-line supervisor, drone operation, canine training, crime scene processing, and interview techniques, just to name a few. One of the things that I want to enhance when we go forward is this idea of tactical range day. And what I want to do on these days is to train as a group. So we have each of our police officers that are separated in 4 squads, 12-hour shifts. You work with the same group of people every single day. And what my goal is to have those 4 people training at the same day. You learn a lot from doing that. You learn what everybody's positives are and maybe what somebody's shortcomings are, not only in how they shoot, but how they train and sort of a mindset. You learn a lot together as a team. And there's no real, that's the best way to train ever, because in a stressful scenario, you're going to react the exact way that you have trained. And when you train together as a team, you succeed together as a team. Okay. Going forward with some down the road expenses, we eventually, not right away, but eventually, we may need people like detention staff, radio equipment and dispatchers, cybercrime investigators, an officer dedicated to DWI enforcement, traffic safety officer, training officer, intelligence analyst, clerk, computer software that translates conversations and body camera coverage to police reports using artificial intelligence. If somebody would have told me that this would have been available someday when I first started in law enforcement, I told them they were crazy. You literally can take a body camera coverage and create a report from this. You feed your body camera language and into your report, and AI helps you write this report. It's crazy. We'll always need vehicles, body cameras, ballistic vests, taser updates, computers, and all the associated equipment needs. That's a given. Sorry. So here's the future of the Kearney Police Department as we see it. All these requests are above and beyond our current budget allowances. And we've been doing really well with our budget as far as that goes. We're staying within it. We're spending our money very wisely. We've come up with some cost-cutting things that we've done just since I started. Simple thing like renegotiating a contract for car washes. We saved about $8,000 a year to do that. Other things that we've done that's been going forward that we're helping out and we're keeping everything in perspective. In the priority setting session with the mayor and the Board of Aldermen, your vision for the city's future was very clear. Your plans for continuing our focused efforts to provide a safer city and to better serve the people of Kearney will be expedited with a dedicated funding source for public safety. I'm requesting approval from the Board of Aldermen to consider a dedicated half-cent sales tax for public safety to be placed on the upcoming ballot for a public vote. I want to thank you all very much for your consideration. I thank you, my department thanks you, my friends, my family members, and the entire community thanks you. If you have any questions or concerns, I'll be glad to address them the best I can.
Chief, thank you for that report. I've got a couple things to say and I've got a couple questions. 2018, when I first put my hat in to be mayor, fully funded to the best of our ability, our police department was one of my biggest priorities. And we've made a lot of, as you mentioned, we've made a lot of improvements since 2019 when I was first elected, and I'm really proud of that. Our police department continues to be our biggest expense as a city, and that's not by, that's by purpose, obviously. And I'm extremely proud of the work that the men and women of your department have done. But you hit the nail on the head. We've got a lot of things to do here in the city, and unfortunately, I would never spend money that way, but we're not the federal government, right? We can't deficit spend. We have to put together a budget that is balanced and can serve our city in whole. So couple questions. Smithville hasn't always done so well on the SafeWise score. We've always kind of been neck and neck. We've been bouncing, and as you mentioned, now Kearney is completely off the top 10, unfortunately, the last couple of years. Do you know anything different that Smithville's done the last 5 or 6 years that would maybe help them become better on that score? Do they have a public safety sales tax, or and I know Liberty in the last couple of years has passed one.
I think that Smithville is trying to put one on the ballot.
Okay.
At the same time we are, or currently, I'll just say that.
Okay. No reason to reinvent the wheel, in my opinion. Other cities have found out they're going through the same thing we are, a growing city. Services aren't free, and I'll continue to do my best to support the men and women of your department. Public safety is extremely important to me. I would love to see more school resource offices in our community. Services aren't free. So thank you for the job that you and the men and women of your department do, and I'm excited to see where this goes. Any questions, comments from the board on Chief Thomas's report or ask?
I think I've had the opportunity to come in contact with several of your officers in the last 6 months when they were working off duty. And the community policing aspect, in a couple of these instances, there were lots of people there. I mean, lots of people, thousands of people. And both of the officers that I came in contact with, there were a lot of kids there. And to see one of our officers there interacting with the kids, and the kids were just eating it up. And the last time I saw one of our officers, I stood kind of back away from it and just watched. And we've always had great officers. We've got a couple of them in the audience today that I've known forever. But some of our newer officers have absolutely surprised me in the fact that, these kids coming up to them, and the summer we had one of them playing in the splash pad, in full uniform. And I think this is a testament to your department, to the officers that we have, and I'll always support the police department,
I appreciate that.
100%, so.
It's a mindset, honestly. Community policing is more than just bending down and patting a little kid on top of the head. It is a mindset that's not only for that child, but for his parents, for his grandparents, for the entire community, truthfully. And that's what, we preach it, we talk it, we lead it, we do it, and that's how it gets done. That's how the things get better in the community, truthfully. Are you gonna cure everything? Is crime gonna go away completely? No, but anything that you can do along that line to have that child have a good, positive experience with a police officer somewhere along the line, it's good for our town. It's good for our community, so.
Yeah, I'm very proud of our police department. I'm also proud of our city that we support our police department. I'm working in a town, as you know, right now, where the city council did not support their police officers, and it got so dire that they all quit. So safety in that community has just, what do you call now? What do you do? I think it's great that we can give you support, but yeah, we're limited on budget, so I think this is a good idea. I've always been proud. I raised my kids here, and the police department here, Ronnie's known this, been around forever. It's just awesome. One day I was mowing the yard, and I won't say who the police officer is, but he pulls up, and my son's in the back seat of a police car. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. And I couldn't find out, his car had ran out of gas, and he was walking home, and he happened to know who I was, and he says, hey, I'll give you a lift home. That's the kind of police officers we got in this town. That's the kind of policing that is small community that people in this town appreciate, and this department is really good at that. And it really makes me proud to have you guys out on the street representing us.
Point of pride for us too, truthfully.
Chief, it's apparent to me that you have the majority consensus of the board, so I will ask that you work with our city administrator on the official language and produce an ordinance for the board's consideration at our next future meeting.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor.
And you're doing a great job. Appreciate everything you and the men and women of your department are doing, and I may be a little biased, but we are becoming the best PD of the state, so keep up the good work.
Appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, sir. We'll move on to mayor's communications. I have a few things to mention this evening. I don't think I'm going to welcome my special guest from Houston, Texas to visit us anymore, because when he arrives, we have like a record-breaking snow, like the fourth worst in the history or something. But I mention all that to, and Shelley, this is, a lot of this is aimed towards you and your staff, but a sincere and heartfelt thank you to all of our City of Kearney essential workers, not just our Public Works Department, who is a small staff who has really exceeded my expectations the last 24 plus hours, but our police officers, our staff inside City Hall, our sewer, water, our partners at the fire district, our county partners. We try to equip our staff with all of our staff members with the tools and things they need necessary. 10 plus inches of wet, heavy snow really tested the limits of our equipment and our ability. And Shelley, you and your staff knocked it out of the park, so thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll definitely pass that on.
Next item I want to mention is I'll actually, I digress. That'll end my mayor's comments for now, and we'll move on to the city administrator's report.
The only thing I want to remind you is that our next board meeting will be on Tuesday, January 21st, because of the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday.
All right, we'll move on to Alderman discussion. Alderman Barger.
I just want to add my thanks to yours for the departments, for the first responders. I think it could have been a really bad issue, and I think everybody took planned ahead and took care of business the way we expect. So thank you.
Alderman Lehman?
Just like to thank all of our employees. We truly have become a employer of choice. And I think we've got the best staff that we've had in years, if not decades. And, you know, when we get a record snowfall like this, there were times that, you know, my street wouldn't get plowed for days. And I live at the bottom of a hill both ways. So getting out of my house and going to work sometimes didn't happen. And I'm proud to say that Shelley's staff, not only has my road been plowed, but it's almost bare pavement. Best I've seen this crew work. In fact, Shelley and her cohort were out in a car, in a truck, and it was a fine-tuned machine. And that was really good to see. My neighbor, who's retired Liberty Fire Chief, he came over and he says, "This was great." And, you know, he said, "We never had that in Liberty." He's like, "This is great." So kudos. Great job.
Alderman King?
I don't have anything.
Alderman Holt?
I just want to reiterate, I mean, I think our staff did a great job, but I think there's also kudos to our citizens. A lot of citizens went out of their way to make sure that cars weren't on the street so that we can get this cleaned up. Had a lot of patience. I know the people in my neighborhood, they didn't go anywhere today. They stayed home and they let the streets get cleared off. The impact to the roads were minimal so that our people can get on there with the snowplows and get stuff done. I also want to talk about another unsung hero of tow trucks. I saw 2 tow trucks out towing people off. They did a great job of keeping the roads cleared so that equipment could get out there and get stuff done for us. I think this was an impressive cleanup, but I think it took everybody to do it, and everybody came together, not only our city staff, which did a fantastic job, but also the citizens of Kearney. They understood, hey, this was a big one, and gave us some room to get things done and get back to normal. So I was really proud of our community as a whole.
All right, if we consider a motion to adjourn the meeting this evening?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?